Today we're going to talk about the secrets from the Science of Persuasion. There's a couple books that we'll show you at the end to get you some more information if you're interested in this. It's a very intriguing subject for me. I love this kind of stuff. You know, the science and the psychology of yes. What factors influence a person to be led, to be sold, to be part of your team? What are the things that causes a person to say yes? And through all the years of science and research and studying these things, surveys and questions and sales teams, we find out that after 60 years, there's actually a science behind it. There are 6 things that cause a person to be influenced. And they're really easy. I mean, all these things are simple for you to do. You want to be part of a program or a system that helps you do these things. If your program is based on the sales because some young guy in a Mercedes is screaming and yelling and telling you how they need your product and how much millions of dollars they're going to make, you're going to find out that that's not the way you grow a business. You're going to have to build relationships, a satisfied customer base, people who are content. These things can be used unethically. Some of these tricks are actually used. When I go through them, you're going to actually see in your mind certain TV commercials and certain people that have used these things, and that they were used unethically, that they were actually manipulation. But if you use these techniques ethically, you'll build relationships, you'll build customers, you'll build friends for the rest of your life. So as we influence people, we want to influence them for their good. We want to influence them to benefit their life. And if you and your product benefits them, then there's no reason why you can't influence them to become part of your team, to become part of your organization, to learn from you. So ethical use of the tools causes longevity. The unethical use of these tools and techniques are just going to cause you to have bad reputation, and it just shows a lack of character, that you're not willing to take the long road through relationships. Because you've heard me say many times, with people, fast is slow and slow is fast. So it's very important that you have relationships and people in mind. What's best for them? So here they are. The 6 secrets or shortcuts to yes. Reciprocity, scarcity, authority, consistency, liking, and consensus. Now, as I go through each one of these things, you're going to see that our training is based on all of these principles. And you're going to see how the tools and the training and the techniques that we have in the back office are all tied to one or more of these shortcuts. Number 1, reciprocity, obligation to give when you receive. People are more inclined to listen to you, to incline themselves to your offer, to be part of your organization, if they feel inclined, or that they owe you, that you've actually given them something for nothing. That you continue to give videos and you give content and you give free audio training, and our program is all based on the free. That everything that we do is based on this number 1 tool. Give, give, give. Continue to give. And it causes a feeling of friendship and obligation. Even when you were a little kid, when someone invited you to their birthday party, you felt obligated, at least thought about it. Even if you didn't like them, you felt obligated to at least consider inviting them to your birthday party when it was your turn. Giving first. Building relationships based on them owing you. That you should always be the number 1 giver in all your relationships. That you should outgive all your friends. You should outgive all your family members. That you should be the person that's always giving, always giving, always giving. That will increase your sphere of influence. And when you finally need something, if you ever need anything from people, they are inclined because they feel they owe you at least the time to listen to you. So giving, reciprocity, number 1. We actually see it in life that when you go to a restaurant, many restaurants actually give a little mint when they give you your check. That there's something about that little gift that causes an increase of 3% in the tip. So for that tiny little piece of chocolate or the tiny little mint on your check increases your inclination to give more money. What's phenomenal about this is it increases 23% if the person were to give mint number 1, take a few steps away, come back and say, hey, you guys are so amazing, you guys are such wonderful customers, I want to give you another one, and you hand out another mint. That little tiny act alone increases the tip by about 23%. So having someone feel that it's a personal gift increases their obligation, their inclination the reciprocity effect that much more. So be a giver. That's how you become a person of influence. Number 2, scarcity. People want more of those things that there are less of. You've seen it happen in history. You've seen it in the 1970s when there was a gas crunch. If you guys are old enough to remember, lines went around the block for people to get gas. They didn't drive anymore. They didn't need more gas. But suddenly, because they thought it was scarce, hundreds and hundreds of people every day would keep topping off their tank. When there was a corn shortage, all the corn left the grocery stores. When the government starts to incline themselves to make something illegal, and there's an inclination that something's going to be scarce, people flood the stores and buy them out. That people are more inclined with scarcity. One person has to jump through a few steps, and they have to go through a program that's unique. Number 3, authority. This is a really big one. This one has a lot of marketers have a really hard time with this because they want to be the deal. Authority is people will follow credible, knowledgeable experts. When every person in an organization is forced to create their own web pages, to create their own blogs, every person's supposed to be their own expert, everybody's supposed to say the right thing and do the right thing. It's impossible for people to believe in an organization where everybody in the organization is an expert. We have to have a single person that you point to as the authority. They have to be a documented leader, someone who can prove that they are this person, that they have not only success personally, but they have success in training other people. We don't have to be the deal. Even if you do have a measure of success, and there's a lot of people that are making full-time income now, even if you're making $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month, you don't have to be the authority. You can point to the authority. There's always someone smarter, wiser, better than you. That actually gives people a feeling of confidence when they come to you and they listen to you, that you're pointing to someone more knowledgeable, someone who's more experienced, listening to the training of an expert. When we have a company or an organization that tries to make everybody an expert, nobody's an expert. It just loses its credibility. So documented authority, very, very important. We find out that a person will exercise more, that they'll give money, that they'll do so many more things and be more committed when a person has a degree on their wall or when a person's wearing a uniform. Very important that when people see documented authority, to get them involved and get them committed. We don't want just a bunch of testimonies of one or two people that say, look, I'm rich and famous, come follow me. It doesn't motivate people. It doesn't motivate the masses. For the people that look like them and have their personality, they're motivated by that stuff, but the average guy is not. Point to an authority. Number 4, amazing technique called consistency. Looking for and asking for commitments that can be made. Something about causing or having a person make a major commitment in life, it takes small incremental changes. You don't just meet somebody at a bar and ask them to marry you. You just don't meet somebody on the street corner and ask to borrow $1,000. That there are many, many little steps of commitment and authority that once they are made, there's a feeling, a trust, a relationship built. Small levels of commitment from a person that can easily be made causes a person to be far more inclined than the person who hasn't done those things. So for example, you give them a free video, and in exchange, the only thing that they have to give you is their email address. That was simple. To get into their back office, now you're offering them an opportunity, you're offering them some money, you're offering them some more training, and all they have to do is watch some free videos and click on these links. They've made 2 levels of commitment. They've made certain measures of commitment. They get a personal feedback from you or from the leadership team. Now they are so much more inclined to be part of your program. Not only are they inclined to be part of your program, but they're inclined to commit to your program because they've gone through the stages of small incremental commitments to cause them to become an active member that sticks around and does what they're supposed to do. Here's an example. They did a survey where they asked a bunch of strangers to put a drive safely sign in their front yard. It was going to be beneficial to them, it's going to be beneficial to their kids, it's going to be beneficial to the neighborhood, but the sign's ugly. So very few people were willing to do it. Almost no one was willing to put a drive safely sign. They had a different neighborhood where they went around and they said, would you put this little tiny sticker in your window on the front of your house somewhere that says drive safely? Hardly noticeable. Almost no one can see it from the street. Lots of people were willing to make that little commitment. when they went back through a couple weeks later and asked those very same people if they would put a drive safely sign now in their front yard, 4 times as many people were committed to put the sign in there. Because they made that little incremental commitment, they were willing to make a much bigger commitment. Number 5, liking. We teach this all the time. So important. 3 important factors. People will like you if they are similar to us, people who pay us compliments, and people who cooperate with us. That people will like you if they know, like, and trust you. The way that you do that is you find similarities. You befriend them on Facebook. You find things that are in common with them. You make positive comments on their statements, not just click the like button, but make intelligent compliments on what they said or what they're doing. You know, they have a photograph or they have an image. You make a compliment or a comment that shows that you truly care. It causes a level of liking with a complete stranger and people who cooperate with us. There's an example done in 2 sales groups. They were doing sales survey training, and they took one group and says, here's the sale. This is what you need to negotiate with your team. And they put the groups of people together in a room, and they said, here's your negotiation. You guys are on this side, you guys are on that side. Get straight to business and go do your work. And so they had a certain measure of success with that. They took a second group of people with the same objectives, and they said, don't go straight to the sale. First, talk about yourselves. Get to know the people on the other side. Make very small amounts of information. What do you guys have in common? Find some commonalities and talk. Then go into the business transaction. There was a 90% of the people came into an agreement. The initial sales were so much more dramatic than the first group, and the long-term benefit in relationship was also more dramatic. And number 6, consensus. People will look to the actions of others to determine their own. Many people will follow a crowd rather than have their own intellect or reason or purpose for doing something. That part of our negotiation, part of our decision making is based on what others are doing. Things trend. People, styles, businesses, solutions trend. As people find other people that are interested in it, they will make a choice or do a thing only because others are doing it. And they need to find people who are similar to themselves. A lot of times it's the personality or people group that they associate with. When they find them doing it, they're more inclined to do it. So look for consensus, look for testimonials, look for stories that talk about how we are alike, how we can find similarities and bring people into consensus. So there's some of your tools. Find more about these things. Go to Amazon or click on the link in our back office. We have books that we recommend. Go to Amazon and look for these books if you want more information. There's also some videos out there on YouTube that are very entertaining. The Psychology of Persuasion, really fun topic. Come join us, learn how to persuade, learn how to become a leader. Enjoy the site.